1986 was a big year for video games. The arcade scene was thriving as new releases like Rolling Thunder, Rampage, and Outrun filled shopping malls and gaming centers with eager kids and adults. But while millions of quarters were being pushed into cabinets at the arcades, the home video game market was starting to take some very important leaps. While the NES Famicom was the best home selling system, Nintendo dropped their brand new Famicom Disk System to really up their game and build on their console's power. With games like Dragon Quest, Kid Icarus, Metroid, and some little-known adventure game called The Hyrule Fantasy Zelda no Densetsu. But Nintendo's Famicom was about to take players out of their homes, away from the arcades, and into the shadowy depths of the deadliest dwelling on Earth. No, not that one. Castle Dracula. Akumajo Dracula, or Castlevania, as you, a vampire hunter that we now know as Simon Belmont, arriving at the gates of Castlevania with a singular goal: kill Dracula. Armed with only a holy whip, a very stylish outfit, and a strut that says "I mean business," we enter the gates, and oh boy. Now's a great time to mention I didn't grow up in this generation of gaming. In fact, Castlevania is 9 years older than I am, and I didn't get to playing it until 2019. While I'm fumbling around with the controls, I take down my first enemy, this lit Brazier. Easy first battle. I'm feeling pretty good about myself, and it drops this big old heart. I assume I start with the full health bar. So the game is teaching me that I can get heals by destroying the environment. Okay. I bravely march to Brazier 2 and, oh, a whip upgrade. I went from flailing about with a bit of string to an actual weapon. Brazier 3 gives me another upgrade, and we're learning things. Upgrades in health come from breaking stuff, and Dracula really needs to step up his security. Storing things that make my vampire killing even more effective in the garden of his fortress seems like a poor defensive strategy. The last Brazier offers up a sword? Okay, let's try it out. Let's try it out. How do I use this fucking thing? Moving into the castle, I'm immediately swarmed by angry grandmas like I've just interrupted bingo night. One hit from my fancy upgraded whip's enough to drop them, but they just keep coming. I'll just grab whatever's hiding in these candles, and hey, the swordy knifey thing's a throwing weapon? Okay. So I've got a close range whip of wonder and a utility attack at range. Hold on. I'm picking up all these hearts, but my health isn't going up. Now, it took me a minute to realize this, but I learned the hearts aren't health supplements as I initially thought, but ammo for the throwing knife. This is really weird to me as someone who got into gaming well after the establishment of the certain rules that have become standard in game design. Hearts are health, purple equals poison, there better fucking be something behind the waterfall. To see hearts used as anything other than a health pickup makes me wonder what the design choice was. And I'm not the only one. Searching online, I could only find fan theories, like the hearts are a physical manifestation of the souls of Dracula's victims and you're using that power to exact revenge. Or the hearts represent your own willpower and heart to succeed in this perilous journey. More likely, the hearts are nothing more than just a nice, simple sprite that was easy to make, easy to see, applied a nice one-size-fits-all for ammunition across all the sub-weapons available, which we'll see more of in a minute. It seems that in this era of gaming, coherent and logical item pickups just weren't important. It's a game, don't think too hard about it, just have fun. Before exiting this room, I whip down this candle and out pops another new and exciting thing. Cross. Rosary beads. This wipes out all the enemies on the screen. I like this placement. It's up on a safe ledge where no enemies are going to spawn, but they're gathering beneath you, clambering at your ankles. You're giving this safe platform to see the item, touch the item, and see what happens. Very clever, very thoughtful game design. Into the next room, and I discover something that is a Castlevania staple. The wall chicken. I've had to pick it up and see what it does before this asshole bat knocks me back, losing me just enough time for the wall chicken to despawn. Lovely. This is gonna come back. A lot. Down another set of stairs to find the sewers, teeming with fish, men, and pitfalls. Fish, men, and pitfalls. Awesome. This is going great. I respawn with a lovely full health bar and press on, flying through the sewer section and out the other side with more bats and zombies, and a new item drop that I don't make it to in time. Whip some candles, recharge the whip upgrades that I lost on death, and approach the first boss of the game. Oh, listen to that music change from the jaunty, exciting Castlevania theme to this threatening boss music. This big ugly bastard likes to fly in arcs, spitting the occasional fireball and knocking me about with just his sheer girth. With absolutely zero strategy, I find myself jumping awkwardly, trying to land a hit with my whip as this giant bat flies low enough. On these first attempts, I barely whittle down the enemy bar. I begin strategizing. Crouching behind this breakable block that drops a Roman numeral, it seemed like a decent idea. But not decent enough. Never mind, I'll get him. Oh, I died, and I'm back at the start of the game. I ran out of lives, and I have to start again. Okay. Back through the garden, grab all the whip upgrades, past the grannies, down the sewer. That was much easier the second time around. Look, an axe for my trouble. This is another throwaway sub-weapon. Lobs a big old medieval axe up in the air and makes incredibly light work of the bat. Catch this weird death orb, which fills up my health bar and the score meter. And that's floor 1 of the castle. Complete. The score counter is an interesting relic, something you don't see in modern games. Supposedly, even by the time Castlevania was released, gamers didn't care much for scores unless it was an endless type game. Kids didn't pay much attention to the score back then, and, well, I'm not going to either. We get this nice visual of the map layout of the castle. This gives some indication of the journey we have ahead. The map changes once more and we enter the red hell of floor 2. We got a safe platform at the bottom of this room to take in our surroundings and check out a brand new enemy. These knights take 2 hits with the upgraded whip, and with this, the design of the level being very vertical, we're being told, look, you've done the tutorial, the game's only going to get harder from here. The second knight is generously placed, paired again with a bat in the room to foreshadow and prepare the player to take on multiple enemies at once that are going to attack from close range, long range, up and down. That couldn't prepare the player for these things, though. The flying Medusa heads are the most annoying enemy I think I've ever encountered in a video game, for a couple reasons. The main reason is this. Not only are they hard to predict, difficult to fight, they just love to tap you down into these insta-kill pits and drain you of precious lives. Over the course of this floor, we're introduced to a few new enemy types in controlled environments, slowly adding pressure and complexity and giving the player room and space to learn while providing a consistent challenge. Environmental hazards, vertical enemy placements, and timed attacks all preparing you for the next step. We travel down a very foreboding corridor that leads to Boss 2. Medusa? Medusa's head. Okay. Well, I'm battered and bruised from the first run here, so it's another death and reset for me. The good news, each floor creates a checkpoint. Losing all my lives doesn't mean going all the way back to the start. But it does mean learning from my mistakes and missteps, running the whole floor again and hopefully arriving at the boss with a little bit more health, better upgrades. And after a few failed runs back, I'm face to face with Medusa once more. This time I brought the only weapon that I as an Australian feel comfortable with. The boomerang. This nifty sub-weapon flies across the screen and, if placed well, can deal 2 hits to whatever you throw at it. This makes it an excellent Medusa killer, and after I eat her boss orb, refill my health and rack up some points, we're on to floor 3. More banging music, and we're outside again. Passing through ruins and even more new enemies, we meet these strange little monkey men who likes to hop around and, well, hop around. Skeletons who fling their own bones at you and crows. Levels full of pitfalls and anxiety-inducing leaps of faith. Lots of vertically placed enemies designed to test your ability to move and attack at the same time. Dracula's tower looms in the distance as you cross this great bridge, reminding you of your ultimate goal before stepping into yet another boss room. This time, dual mummies. You've taken on bosses one-on-one, you've dealt with multiple enemies at once, and you've dealt with ranged and melee attacks at the same time. This boss is testing what you've learned, throwing all of these tactics at you at once. They chuck bandages, they walk right into you, they can do a lot of damage in not a lot of time. Each mummy needs to be killed, and they're very good at trapping you in a corner. They're also impervious to the magic of the stopwatch sub-weapon that freezes all enemies in place. But once you manage to best them and grab the boss orb, you've cleared another stage, and you're ready to climb even higher into Dracula's castle. I guess Dracula heard Simon was on his way, because we get cast down into the sewers once more. Back to the bats, and the fishmen, this time with double the pitfalls, and the addition of moving platforms, and low-hanging rocks that have to be avoided by crouching, while also still dodging enemy attacks. And speaking of dodging, get ready to do a lot of it. The monkey men are back. This time they're flying the eagles to Mordor, and unless you're quick on the whip, you're gonna get fucked up. This long stretch of pain is your freedom run to get back to the castle. But you're not out of the woods once you make it to the door. Waiting for you at the end is not 1, not 2, but 3 dragon bone snake things. This gauntlet, from the start of the sewer to the boss room behind the last bone snake, took more than a few attempts in my first run. I think I spent maybe 3 hours just trying to make it there. I don't make games like this anymore, and I'm not sure that's a compliment. Finally, though, I do make it, and I come face to face with none other than Frankenstein's monster and his little buddy. I think that's meant to be Igor? It's probably Igor. Frankenstein doesn't move a whole lot, but he's your target. Igor will bounce around the room like the other monkey men we've seen, and he'll drain your life down while you try and take on the big boy. With a little bit of RNG, a good sub-weapon, and some patience, you'll take him out and claim the orb. The good news! You've now climbed up past the halfway point of Drax Tower. Only a couple levels between you and the Count remain. Bad news. These next levels fucking suck. You're thrown immediately into the dungeons, this time without the safety net of an observation platform. These 2 little dungeon-dwelling perverts come charging right at you from the start of the level and set the tone for what's to come. Skeletons above you, monkey men below you, and now there's an all-new pain in the ass, this regenerating red skeleton. This guy doesn't stay dead, he just fakes it for a minute and pops right back up to ruin your day. The knights are back too, now with their very own throwing axes. Guess they're learning. More stairs lead you up to some lovely design choices from Dracula's interior designers. They've really nailed the evil Dark Lord look here. It's interesting to see the crosses on the front of these coffins. This was a time in gaming where religious references of any kind were being censored. If you can dodge, duck, dip, dive, and dodge your way through this absolute onslaught of red skellies and axe-wielding knights, which took me a while, you'll find yourself in yet another super fun corridor of hell. You remember the Medusa Head corridor from a few levels back? Well, it's that, but now they have backup. These knights will backstep just out of whipping range, flinging endless axes at you and laughing while you hop around the decapitated Medusa heads. I would describe this run as mean. This is a mean hallway. Not just because of everything you've had to go through to get here. Not just because it's a tough room to clear. This hallway is mean because of who lies at the end. Death. Death is waiting. I don't mean that symbolically, I mean literally. The Grim fucking Reaper is about to float down from the sky and fuck your day up. This dude is pissed that you just survived his obstacle course from hell, and he's gonna collect your soul whether you like it or not. Multiple flying, swirling scythes that will hit you many, many times. Even just one of these will drain a health bar. And if you can dodge them, this motherfucker floats just out of hitting range until he feels like swooping directly into your body. This is the skill check. This is Castlevania seeing if you're ready to take on Count Dracula. Death himself is the enemy. And you must overcome it if you have any chance to face the Lord of Evil in a one-on-one. You've got to learn his attacks, time your movements carefully, get into the mind of death. Practice. Be patient. Spam him to death with holy water. That's how I did it. With all of Dracula's cronies out of the picture, it's time for one final push. The last climb up to the Count's tower to face him head on. He's not going to make this easy. Cross the bridge and hold up. Is that the first boss? Is that the first fucking boss returning as a regular enemy? You're a prick, Dracula. Cross the bridge, deal with the bats, or just dodge them, and you'll enter the clock tower. According to an interview with the game's creator Hitoshi Akamatsu, the gears in the clock tower represent Dracula's heart. They turn so long as Dracula's alive. This level is literally reminding us of our goal as we push through, that no matter what we do here, the cogs will keep turning so long as our enemy lives. We have to use them, advance upon his throne, and end him once and for all. Stepping outside, we get one last look at the night sky, one last breath of fresh air, and a moment of reprieve. Large, elegant stairs leading up to the final fight. We're graciously gifted some whippable candles full of goodies like hearts, upgrades, a sub-weapon, before entering the tomb chamber. A monumental coffin fills the room, and we know who's coming. From behind us, only a face can be seen before Count Dracula reveals himself. The manual tells us he's been waiting 100 years for this battle. And it shows. He ain't messing around. To open the fight, Dracula opens his cape and blasts us with this fire magic before instantly teleporting behind us and casting his fire once more. He just repeats this pattern over and over again, teleporting to semi-random locations during this phase. Attacks seem to do absolutely nothing, and all you can do is survive until you find his weakness. His face. Sounds easy enough, except for the fact that Dracula is much taller than you, and his health pool is massive. And he just keeps whipping fire out of his trench coat like a flasher with herpes. If you dodge the fire and hope he doesn't teleport directly into you, which he does, a lot, whip the ugly off his face. Eventually, you'll take his head clean off and you can enjoy watching all of the body parts of Dracula fly off in different directions. But don't enjoy that for too long, because here comes phase 2. Batman. Batman fucking hurts a lot. His moveset's limited, but what he does have packs a punch. He does this big leap in the air towards you, and if you get stuck under it, you're fucked. If he doesn't land square on your head, he'll spit some fireballs at you for good measure. With a healthy dose of holy water and a good lashing, you can finally defeat the evil creature lurking atop Castle Dracula and fulfill your duty as the vampire killer. From a cliff in the distance, you watch on as the clock tower's gears cease turning and the castle's tower crumbles. You and Simon Belmont have ended the reign of evil. But at what cost? What befalls a man so bold as to assault the castle and attempt to destroy pure evil? It may be a wonderful day to celebrate victory, but what a horrible night to have a curse. Castlevania is a wonderful experience. Having not grown up with it or games of the era, I was concerned about how it might hold up in the modern gaming world. It does have some relics of a bygone era, but the controls are thoughtful and deliberate, the level design is intricate and well planned, and the atmosphere and storytelling is just immaculate. I can imagine being a child of the 80s, being aware of the horror movie franchises that this game references, and getting to see it all in one big love letter action experience. I should mention here that I played the NES version of Castlevania, which lacks certain features and graphical differences than the Famicom Disk System had, like being able to save your game at the start of every stage. Kids on the NES had to beat this game in a single sitting. Those poor bastards. This game has a special place in the hearts of a lot of gamers, and it's easy to see how it spawned so many sequels and eventually an animated show. No, not that one. That one. If you enjoy a challenge, love classic horror, you just want to feel like a badass vampire slayer, dive back into this classic, run the gauntlet yourself. Or stick around for the next video and see just how wild the Castlevania story can get. Thank you very much for sticking around to the end of this video. This was my first attempt at long-form, pre-recorded video content. I'd appreciate any feedback that you have in the comments section. If you enjoyed this, you want to see more like it, subscribe to the channel. Give the video a like. I streamed every Castlevania game over on Twitch. There's a link in the description. I'm live there 5 days a week if you want to come hang out. And you can watch the full playthrough of Castlevania and all of the Castlevania games here on YouTube. And an extra special thanks to everybody who supports me on Ko-fi, all my Twitch subscribers, and of course my friend Finntrovert for inspiring me to get off my ass and start making some content. Most importantly, thank you for sticking around and indulging in a little nostalgia with me. Until I see you again, thanks for watching.